Hi, this is Su Trung from Commercial Financing Experts Academy. I brought David back to talk and discuss a little bit more about the mindset in commercial financing and what's the difference between residential versus commercial and how you should approach it. Let's talk about the scenario that we got financing on the purchase of that tire store.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's give a synopsis of that one at the beginning.
It was referred to me from a residential realtor that I've worked with. He had the listing on a small commercial building in Vancouver, and the buyer's agent approached him. They got an accepted offer, and they asked the realtor that I know if he knew how to finance this purchase. They had an accepted offer and had no idea how to finance it. So he referred me into it, and I realized fairly quickly on that it was not something I could do myself quite at that point. I had learned a lot from our other deal, but this was different. It was a commercial property rather than a residential property.
It was a true commercial.
Commercial property. So I approached you very quickly on this one. I didn't bother to go and bang my head on the wall getting a bunch of no's. And in the first meeting, you started asking questions that I hadn't even began to think about. And you've told me the line before: ask smarter questions and get smarter answers.
Yeah. And
that was the biggest aha moment.
Yeah, Tony Robbins' favorite quote, right? That's what I like.
Right.
It's like successful people are successful as a result because they ask better questions.
Right. Yeah. No, absolutely. I was approaching it just as a building purchase.
Yeah.
It was an existing commercial building. And my approach was just to finance it as an existing building. You know, what's the rent potential, what's the down payment, all these sorts of things.
Yeah.
Not thinking to ask the deeper questions as to why they were buying this building.
That's right.
What were their business didn't fit with what this building was or its location. It didn't make sense for them. And you asked the smarter questions and realized that their medium-term goal was to tear down the existing building and build a new 3 or 4 story mixed-use building.
That's right.
And that changed the entire scope of the deal. It went from a simple $800,000 or $900,000 mortgage to purchase the property, and turned into ultimately multi-millions of dollars for both the land purchase and then the construction of the building. And it's about 3/4 complete, maybe a little more than halfway, maybe not quite 3/4. Coming along, and in another year or so, we're going to get a chance to refinance it once again.
That's right, on completion.
On completion, we'll be taking out the construction mortgage and rewriting it into a commercial term mortgage. So we're going to end up ultimately making money 3 times.
That's right.
On the same piece of
property.
property.
And with our first one, we just basically get it straight for private financing, purchase land quickly. For
they had a short closing date, so.
Yeah. And the commercial one was quite unique because I knew that off right off the bat that they're a development company, and it didn't fit their I guess their mandate, or I believe that it doesn't fit with the profile. Yeah. The development company buying a tire store doesn't really make sense, right? I can understand the automotive business and doing this, but this is not something that they would normally do. They're building single detached houses too.
Yep.
And which is the coolest thing is when you start asking questions. Okay, you guys want to do this, but do you guys have any experience doing this?
Right.
So the value-added question when we approach clients is to really not just understand what their needs, the future needs at all, but just about their current experience and what they're lacking. Because what they're lacking when you bring to the table adds value.
Yes.
I mean, look why they deal with us, and how many clients have they referred to us already? Right? Quite a few, and we've made good leadways of that. And now other development comes and refer to us from them as well, right? So I'm very happy. I'm looking forward to this potentially paying off this commercial loan too with a multi-unit rental.
Yes, absolutely.
That's going to be huge. It's the loan size is growing longer, bigger and bigger and bigger, right? Yeah. So this is going to be pretty big payout too, I believe.
I'm looking forward to it.
So thank you for giving the inside understanding of how that worked and the process. The lesson we learned on this video is that it's not just the deal that you're working on, is that what potentially we can grow from this and help our client further down the road. And by doing that, it gives a lot more opportunities.
Tons. If I had approached it just as a simple purchase, we would have made a commission on $800,000 or $900,000 on the purchase.
Yeah.
And ultimately, we're going to end up doing multiple times that amount of financing for them.
What the construction deal? How much was the gross earnings on that?
35,000.
Yeah, I think it was there was 38, but we gave them
38?
some credit
Yeah.
for the and it was the cost estimate through the quantity surveyors.
Right.
That's
Right. Yes. Yes.
So
Research your
$38,000. Yeah, there's a lot of mindset goes into construction versus just a regular commercial, and that was one of the things that we have to bite the bullet sometimes. And the cost, the expense, and all that is minimal compared to what you make. I mean, if you're looking at the income you make, I mean that's like an annual year's income, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly. It took us how long did that process take?
From the start of the loan process to the start of construction was just short of a year.
A year.
About 11 months.
So how many hours in total do you spend on that, do you think?
Less than an average residential deal. It took a year, but it wasn't a year of full-time working on it. It was a few hours this week, nothing for a couple of weeks, a few hours the next week.
Yeah.
I don't know, I probably have a total of 30, maybe 40 hours into that deal.
It's an investment of time.
Yep.
But the payback is once you have several of these in the pipeline, that's what you want to do, right? So that it's less stress, none of these 3 to 5 day subject removals, craziness, right? That we have to do in the residential side.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you absorb commercial and see that you've been getting more and more deals that way. And I look forward to the next several deals with you. Help to grow bigger even. Okay?
Bigger deals.
Thanks, David.
Thanks.
Talk to you later. Have yourself a great day, guys.